Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why your ex thinks you'll never change.
Ooh, this is a hot topic today. Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with one of us, you can do so by going to the website and booking from there.
Absolutely. I think most situations, the partner, the ex, the dumper, feels like the dumpy is never going to change. Now, that's not true in every situation, but in a lot of them, we see a situation where there have been maybe problems that have been going on for a long time, some kind of issue, something that's been frustrating or hurting or disappointing that other person to the point where they're like, well, this is who they are. I've asked them to change. I've talked to them about it, and they aren't doing anything different. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not true for everybody. And I know people get really defensive real quick. But that wasn't my case. It wasn't. Well, it's not everybody. But in many cases, that is what happens. Somebody was maybe anxious and controlling, doing something to their partner that was making them like feeling like they can't take it anymore. Or maybe they were really neglectful and they couldn't take that pain of feeling so lonely and hurt for so long. Those things add up over time. They see how you are. People tend to do a lot of the same things. We have these habits. We have these routines. Then we have these quirks.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are just like, all right, I can't take this, and I know they're never going to change.
Why did you point at me during quirks? People have their quirks.
Well,
am I quirky?
I had, 7 or 8 I had lined up, but I didn't want to share them. I'll share them in an Instagram story.
But it is true. We get into these habits and then we're not really realizing how we are presenting ourselves to our partner. And a lot of times breakups happen because your partner doesn't think that you'll change.
You do burp like an ogre.
I do burp a lot. Right before we take these videos, I just let her rip.
Like an ogre, like in the mountainside.
That's like a behind-the-scenes secret. But it's true. A lot of times these things end up leading to breakups, and not the ogre burps, but more so that thought that, oh man, my partner is never going to change. They're never going to improve. Sometimes you will have a communicative ex where they will start bringing these problems up to you and they notice, man, I've brought up this complaint already 5 times and I'm not seeing any change.
Yeah.
Other times, you will see an ex be absolutely silent about what's bothering them until the breakup. They will lay it on you. They will say, well, this I didn't agree with. I didn't like when you did this. I see that you continue to do this habit.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, well, you never gave me a chance to change those things. And they might be thinking, I didn't think that you ever would. So we want to talk about this today because we do see all of you wanting to show your ex that you can change these things that have led to the breakup. Some of you are very optimistic, and I love that. I'm an optimistic person.
3 weeks after the breakup, I've changed.
But we also want to be sure to not be
Don't
manipulative. We want to also be realistic, okay? And so one thing that will have your ex thinking that you won't change is who you're surrounded by. You know that old quote? One rotten apple ruins the bunch.
Yep.
It can happen. If you find yourself lacking motivation in life and you're surrounded by others who bring you down, maybe you're surrounded by others who kind of have some of those toxic traits, that you see and you're realizing, man, this is not really my crowd. This is not people who lift me up. Really think about who your influences are.
That's a good point.
This is something that's really important and often overlooked.
Sure. Yeah, it is. It's a big point too, because a lot of times someone will say, well, you're hanging out with those people and they always do those things and they're getting into trouble.
Right. And maybe you even have a difficulty with setting boundaries, being able to tell certain people no, being able in certain situations to cut off people in your life. And that can also lead to a breakup. I don't think you'll change because you continue to be around these people or tolerate this kind of behavior in your life, and I don't want to be a part of it. Something your ex might say. So something to consider in the ways that you do want to change is who is in your surroundings. There's that other cheesy quote, and full of them today, where they say...
It's one of your quirks.
It is one of my quirks. They say you're the accumulation of your 5 closest friends. So think about that. Maybe they are ambitious people. Maybe they are very thoughtful, very kind. Maybe not. So something to consider.
Absolutely. One of the biggest ones we see all the time. This is such a big one. So many of you are guilty of it, is telling them you have changed.
Too soon.
Too soon. Too soon. It's been 3 weeks and you've told them that you're changing and you're a different person, and they're not going to believe it, and nor should they believe it. We don't change our issues that quickly. Now, I know it feels like you're going to get them to see things differently, or maybe they're going to give you another chance, but rarely does that happen. They're going to take you less seriously, and they're going to just feel like you're trying to get them to do what you want them to do, which is the truth. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to tell them that you've changed. In fact, it's going to backfire.
Yeah. It's going to look like you were just out for a quick fix and that you're not really caring about the issues that they've brought to you. You know, there's almost this sense of desperation that comes with, I've done everything that you've asked. See? Yeah. Aren't you happy? They want to see consistency. They want to see reliability. They want to be able to believe and sense that things have changed.
Yep.
So that does take time, as you were saying.
And especially if they asked you to change for a long time, like years, mm-hmm. and you didn't want to for years, and all of a sudden, but now I'm going to change. That's only going to make them angry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so don't go off and tell them that you're changing. Focus on the personal growth. Do the creative healing course, 30 minutes a day, mm-hmm. get into therapy, listen to the videos on what we're really teaching you, because we're trying to teach you a lot more than just how to get your ex back. We're trying to teach you how to be more secure, how to heal your attachment issues, how to be a better partner, how to communicate better. I mean, there are so many different mm-hmm. areas that we're trying to help you grow. Do it, but that is a slow process.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me today how long it took me. I'm like, I can't even speculate. Like,
how long it took you to create?
To change and grow.
Change.
To work through those mm-hmm. issues. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, this is like a process of many, 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 many years.
Yeah, and one could say that it's endless.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that's continuous. We always keep learning. We always keep growing. But to say that, okay, now I'm ready to start this healthy relationship again, I'm less likely to fall into those same patterns.
Yep.
That's a bold statement.
And that's why we also say put yourself on probation mm-hmm. for 9 months.
Yeah.
Right? I had a guy working so hard on the creative healing course and the workbooks. And it's so nice to see. And because you can see the difference. When people are really doing the work, you should see how they light up inside and how good they feel mm-hmm. and how accomplished they feel when they're actually doing it.
Oh, yeah. And from a clinical perspective, you know, Craig and I both work also in the clinical setting, and you can see how the person changes. You know, we look at their affect, we look at how well kept they are, we look at how they articulate things. And so change is something that does take time. And so we can see when you're, just from a coach perspective, we can see when you're in that desperate place to convince someone you've changed versus when you actually have made those lasting changes. And I promise you, your ex can pick up on those things too.
Absolutely.
If they know you.
They're going to know. They're going to know the difference in when you've really changed mm-hmm. and when you're just telling them. Right. Trust me, they are going to see it. We have blind spots that other people see in us that we don't see in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And they, in many ways, know you better than you know yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Trust me. I have a guy right now that I'm not sure if you did a coaching with him, but he's actually in the process of writing up an email for me to share. Mm-hmm. He came to the channel years ago, didn't do the work, and the relationship was terrible. Just volatile, toxic, arguing, no trust. And we started coaching again about 6 months ago. And he finally, after me, basically begging him and pleading him, please, you got to start doing this work. He started doing it, and now he's doing the creative healing course. And the whole dynamic with him and his ex, well, they're working things out, but she's still doing a lot of toxic things. But now he's not reacting to those things that normally used to trigger him all the time. And the whole dynamic is shifting. And hopefully he's going to get an email to us soon, because it's going to be a really wild ride.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And we love to see people's development over time too. So that's something that's really fulfilling for us, very gratifying for us, and a big part of why we do this. We want to see you change, and we want to see you make those lasting changes. Now, just as eagerness is something that can almost make your ex skeptical that you've really changed, so is apathy. So is the complete opposite. And we see many breakups happen around someone who is complacent, someone who might be neglectful in a relationship.
Yep.
And those behaviors might continue after the breakup. You know, you might realize, man, I'm really not taking care of myself. I'm really not socializing. I'm isolating myself. I'm really not thinking about my health and the future and my goals. And so this is something that we also want to tell you about, is be able to have motivation for yourself and think about what might be causing your lack of motivation. Consider maybe there's some depression at play. Maybe there's some mental health issues at play. And please go get help for those things.
A lot of time there's a depression. And if you are very negative on your situation and you're constantly talking about they're never coming back, and just to have these negative beliefs about the whole thing, that's probably correlated with how you didn't get your needs met in your childhood. And you've got to look at that, because so many of you are just blaming and angry and hurt and not working through it. And you're going to continue to struggle with those feelings if you don't talk about it and deal with it.
Right.
You know?
And the challenge now is your ex is going to be more sensitive to these shortcomings. And so it's a challenge to try to repair a relationship in which your ex doesn't think that you'll change. It's going to take that level of consistency. They are likely exhausted from trying to get you to change, from trying to convince you, or trying to, get you to see the things that have been bothering them or voicing their concerns. Or they might just be so convinced from repeatedly seeing these kind of behaviors. So you really want to be able to be consistent, really think about the reasons for the breakup. That's something that both of us really get into in the coaching calls, is to be able to really dissect, okay, why did this happen? What is it that they are needing and asking for? And you want to take those things seriously. Most importantly, think about your attachment style, think about your mental health, any trauma that might be coming up, because working on those things is going to create the most meaningful change to your life. Yes, we can work on behaviors, and those are things that we talk about in coaching calls too. Minor mistakes, little tweaks, things like that, but we have to get at the core of what's causing these issues in order for it to make a difference in the long term.
Absolutely. It's not easy, but for those of you that have been in no contact for months, it's not a negative thing. In my opinion, it's an opportunity. And every day is an opportunity for you to truly grow, reflect, change, and get to a great place, regardless of what happens with that person. But when they come back, they're going to be testing you. They're going to want to see if you've really changed. And when you fail, they're going to say, see, I knew you weren't going to change. I knew you were going to go back to those old ways. And that is especially why you don't want to tell them that you've changed. Because when you go on and on about how different you are, and then you guys have an argument similar to one you've had in the past, you see, this is why I didn't want to give us another chance, because you didn't change. And you presenting yourself as changing only makes them more critical to you. So you want to have more of a, I'm working on being the best version of myself attitude, rather than I've changed.
Right. You don't want to overpromise and then underdeliver.
Exactly.
And many of you are very eager, very excited, and very committed because we have just this
You're
human
anxious.
need to fix things, right? Take it easy, have realistic and achievable goals for yourselves, and be able to take things step by step. A really big part of change is also integrity. Many of you are motivated by getting your ex back, and that's okay. We want to see you all get to a better place, right? But integrity is really about you, who you are, your character. And integrity really is about who you are when no one else is watching, not even your ex. So it might be easy to show up to therapy when You think, okay, I'm going to show my ex these therapy receipts.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to know that I'm there. It's really easy to start working on your mental health, start working on your physical health, on your life, when you think that your ex's eyes are on it. What about when they're not? Can you do
That's
these
right.
things for you?
And that's where you want to get.
Exactly.
Yeah, great
That's
point.
really where it will be more lasting for you. You know, it won't be so contingent on whether or not another person is happy or satisfied with what you're doing. It's more if you are happy and satisfied with what you're doing. So that's the ideal. That's what we hope for ourselves and for you.
Change is absolutely possible, but it does take work. Just like if you want to get in better shape, you got to be consistent about it. If you're not consistent, you're not going to really change your body, right? If you're not consistent with the work, the emotional changes that you have to make, the emotional self-control, working through those traumas, learning to communicate, putting those things into practice, you're not really going to be different when they come back. And it's going to wind up being a similar dynamic, which probably is at least part of the reason why it didn't work before. Okay?
Exactly.
All right. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and hopefully you're staying committed to the personal growth. You can get the workbooks and the creative healing course on the website. If you want to get our help personally, you can go to my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you're ready to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.